what are your rotation predictions, starters and backups for the
Mhm.
Spurs?
Before I get into that, I do want to preface it by
Okay.
saying the Spurs will likely do 11 or 12-man rotations, like, in all honesty, but I'm just gonna give my starting 5 and then backup 5 for the sake of conversation. Doesn't mean that the 11, 12, 13 won't have any playtime, because they definitely will. But my starting lineup will be Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sohan, and Victor Wembanyama. My bench unit would be Trey Jones, Stephon Castle at the backup 2, Keldon Johnson, Sandro Mamukelashvili, and Zach Collins. And like I said, the 11-12 guys that I think would get spot minutes would be Malachi Branham and Julian Champagnie, depending on where they are. They both are very versatile players. And then you can also throw Blake Wesley in there from time to time, depending on injury, depending on load management for Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes, etc. But I think that the first two fives are both very versatile. It allows us to space the floor, improve passing and playmaking, obviously, with the addition of Chris Paul, and improve defense, of course, with Stephon Castle. I think it addresses a lot of the difficulties we had last year while maintaining the cohesiveness of the scheme, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And I'm not trying to sit here and just repeat everything, but I have Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sohan, and Victor Wembanyama. And then off the bench, I have Trey Jones, Stephon Castle, Keldon Johnson, Mamu, and then Zach Collins. The other thing that I just put in parentheses about the
Oh, Bassy.
backup lineup is literally, yeah, interchangeable with what we talked about last week. But if I had to pick for a prediction, I'm going to go with Zach. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and again, if you guys have been watching, that's not really surprising to you. We've kind of been talking about this since the Harrison Barnes episode. And
Mm-hmm.
even this, you could go back to the shooting guard with putting Steph on at the 2 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
The only caveat I could potentially see in the starting lineup is what a lot of people have been talking about, which is Harrison Barnes off the bench as a six-man
right.
scoring role, and then moving, is it Keldon to the starting three or Julian Champagnie at the starting
It
three,
could be
one or the
either.
other, and then letting Jeremy play the four. And then in that situation, I think most people have Harrison as the backup four, which would
Exactly.
eliminate Mamu from the rotation.
Yeah. That's the main other thing that I could see. I think the biggest question about that lineup, if we do, if we play Mamu as a third stringer again and we play Harrison Barnes as the 4 off the bench, I wonder, like, I almost feel like that means Champagne's going to start again. I know that,
Me too. Me too.
it sounds weird with how the past season's gone, but when you think about the spacing and also just that bench unit with Keldon, and Harrison Barnes and Stephon Castle, as well as, Trey Jones with the way he played at the end of the year, that is something that, I was kind of talking about the lineup we have right now, potentially, or when I say right now, I mean like the one with Mamu at the 4 that we think, is going to
Mhm.
happen. Um, that the one with Harrison really could potentially mitigate some defensive lapses with Zach Collins. So
Mhm.
I definitely see the appeal there. But again, not a backtrack. I'm sticking with Trey Jones, Stephon Castle, Keldon Johnson, Mamu, and Zach.
Me as well. Me as well.
I also want to say we got some breaking news here in the comments. Wemby's Castle, longtime SSPN OG, says, "Yo, breaking news. I know it's not Spurs related, but Monday my wife and I closed on a house. We are officially
Mm.
homeowners after the first 8 years of our marriage being renters." So shout out to you, Wemby's Castle.
Congratulations.
That is genuinely, like, that is so awesome. That's
Mhm.
something we all aspire to have in our lives.
Right.
And I are still working towards that, but we definitely want to get there one day. And I know you've grinded a lot, to get to that moment. So anytime you guys want to share some stuff like that, because afterwards Wemby's Castle said, "Sorry, just wanted to share." Do not be afraid. We
Mhm.
love to hear it, and we love to celebrate all the people in our little SSPN community. So happy house giving, if you will,
House
to
giving. There we go.
Wemby's Castle. And then PM 113, he says, "Can't wait to see what this team looks like." That's
Mhm.
really what it comes down to with these rotations. This is what Ethan and I think. There's going to be a lot that's going to play out over training camp.
Mhm.
Something that we reiterate is we're not trying to say that they're completely free from criticism, but we're going to trust Greg Popovich and the Spurs front office and the coaching staff at
Right.
the end of the day. But we do feel like that is going to be the rotation with Harrison Barnes as the starting 3, and then Mamu's the starting 4 off the bench, with everything else kind of being similar to last year.
Couldn't have said it better myself, my friend.
And this is why, man, like we've already basically wrapped up the two main parts of this episode. We're not trying to make this one shorter and not
Mhm.
to repeat this and beat it like a dead horse. But again, if you guys want to hear us dive into more of, the in-depth stuff and the lineups and the rotations, go check out all of the position breakdowns that we've been doing over the
Right.
past 6 weeks and the clips as well. And I've been seeing that some of the numbers have been going up on that. So I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are coming back just now. So definitely go check those out. Check out the clips if you want to go to specific players.